Guess who's back? She's back.
I did too.
Shaba's back.
Oh.
And you'd be like, tell a friend.
Yeah. Kate is back. Kate is back. Kate is back. Kate is back.
Shaba's back. Shaba's back.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. You know, I feel like you and I could be part of like a whisper orchestra where I feel like we sound, well, first and foremost, I've never heard you belt out your loudest belt out. I feel like you always just whisper sing.
You know, it's so funny you say that because I was volunteering at something this weekend and I was literally singing to myself a Christmas song and I was minding my business, didn't think anybody heard me, forgetting the fact that said room I was in echoes and people did indeed hear me and they were like, "Who is that?" And I was like, "I have no idea." And the lady looked at me, she goes, "It was you singing it." I'm like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And another lady's like, "Well, she's in the choir." And I was like, "I have no idea what you guys are talking about. It wasn't me." And they were like, "Sheena, oh my God." And I didn't know how to feel, but they like made me feel good. So
I feel like if you could really yell, you sing here.
I do have a soft voice. I am told I have a very soft voice. And it's funny because I don't realize it. I don't.
But
And I feel like my youngest is the same way. And I'm like, "Can you please speak up?"
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Now I know who she gets it from. Yeah. I don't even know.
Oh, she is you.
She is me. 2.0.
She is you.
Mm.
We were talking about something and then I
2.0.
was going to pivot to something else. Oh, I love
Topic
this.
of the podcast or me sipping?
Oh, well, besides the fact that I just had to say to Shaba, we're sitting in my car at Cumberland Farms, just got ourselves. I got myself the cappuccino of the season.
I got
Peppermint.
myself a vitamin water. Oh, I could totally cut you off. Sorry.
No, that's
No, because the
fine.
most important
Stop
ingredient was
it.
what you were literally about to name. So let's rewind. Okay, go ahead.
No, the peppermint cappuccino.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it's fire.
peppermint's the most important part.
It's fire. And then Shaba got a vitamin water.
Mm.
So we're sitting in the car and I'm getting ready to start the podcast, get the mics out, do all that stuff. And then I hear her like what I think is playing with a straw because, you know, a minute has gone by, maybe 2 minutes. And I look over and she is still sipping on her vitamin water.
I'm sipping. I'm a
She
sipper.
is the slowest sipper I have ever met in my absolute life.
Listen, you have to like, I don't
I'm-
know. You have to like fully like enjoy the taste of everything, you know? That's what I do.
Oh my. We got some 1-900 voices going on this morning.
It's always early in the morning.
Literally just woke up at 5.
We did.
And here we are at 6:28.
Yeah.
We had to get ourselves something to.
Yeah, we had to.
They still don't have the reindeer. They still don't have that reindeer refresh
The
car.
freshener.
Yeah,
Air
they don't have
freshener,
that
whatever.
back.
Yeah, I got the last one.
And they really
And it's really
fucked
cute.
up on Mrs. Claus. Like,
she took
and
a
we're
picture.
I'm gonna
Oh my
post a
God.
photo as soon as this podcast goes out, so you guys have reference.
Yeah, please
we're
make sure you
talking
look at the photo of Mrs. Claus. I'm a little
They're
disappointed.
taking the innocence of
Yeah.
of Christmas away by making
It very
Mrs.
Playboy
Claus.
almost.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
looks like she belongs on Hugh Hefner's
Playboy.
hip.
Her face.
100%.
Yeah.
Pinup girl.
Yeah, I still think pinup girls are classy, but like
I do too, but why can't
I'm seeing,
Mrs.
like,
Claus just
Playboy.
be what we always believed Mrs. Claus to
exactly. Thank you.
be? In her
Don't-
60s,
Yeah, I'm so disappointed
early
right now.
70s,
Yeah.
nurturing.
Cumberland Farms very disappointed in you right now. She literally looks very inappropriate. But
Other
yeah.
than that, they nailed it with everything else.
Yeah. So we'll post a picture. Maybe it's just us.
It's
And if
probably
we're
just us.
wrong, then that's fine. You know, we apologize. I don't think we are, but you guys will see what we're talking about when we post the photo.
She just looks a little too sassy for my
She looks
liking.
very sassy. She looks like she has a lot of spice to her too.
And Santa, you know, I mean, yes, the beards are in for sure. But
Beards are definitely in.
Santa's always had a beard,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, beards are always in though. Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas.
Ho ho ho.
Ho ho ho.
What were we going to talk about this first episode?
I think we were talking about feminine and masculine energy.
Feminine and masculine
Notice how I
energy.
said that? Feminine and masculine energy. Very pillow talk.
You read something about
I
this.
watched a video on Instagram, and this girl was talking about the difference of men being able to kind of hone in on a little bit of their feminine side and a woman in her masculine energy, and then, you know, people being able to kind of appreciate that. And I was like, a guy in his feminine energy, a woman in her masculine energy. And I said, this would be an interesting podcast topic. And as she went on to say, you have a lot of women that when she says masculine energy, right, it's like the can do attitude, like I got it, hyper independence, taking over control. And what she meant by taking over control wasn't necessarily like I dictate everything, but sometimes you have some females that are just that's how they are. They are very independent, and it doesn't matter if you're in a relationship or not, just that's said personality. And somebody, and the way it was explained, and I was like, ooh, I actually kind of agree with her, is that when you get to a point where you're comfortable enough to kind of, and I can only speak to female, I'm not a man, so I don't know what men think, but when you get to a point as a female when you're comfortable enough to kind of let go or let down the masculine energy, then you embrace more of that feminine side. And I'm like, ooh, I can kind of see that. I definitely can kind of see that because I've been called out on some things sometimes. Whether I'm talking to my brother and he's like, you have to allow people to do this, you have to allow people to do that. And I don't realize that because I am a very hyper, and I say hyper because that's not necessarily good, but hyper independent person. You know what I mean? So when I was watching this, I'm like, damn. And then when it had to do with guys, she was talking about men. And when she said feminine, we're not necessarily saying like a girl, we're not saying that, but like that softer side. Men don't let down or don't give into their feminine side unless they're comfortable enough doing so. And by a man showing his feminine side, that would be like a guy showing their emotions, more of a softer side, not having to always be like masculine. And it's true because I have a lot of guy friends that are like that. They like, I've seen it when they're comfortable, but then if they're not, they feel like they have to always be like hyper masculine. And it's just, to me, I thought that was incredibly interesting. It was like an interesting concept hearing it from a female saying this. And I was like, man, I would love to talk to a guy about this, like if we had a guy on and hearing his take on this, like somebody who's very masculine and how they felt about that.
If your friends are older than you in their 50s, then that means that they're probably a product of the
A
silent
lot of them are.
generation
A lot
or
of them
baby
are.
boomer.
Yeah.
And that generation didn't have a lot of femininity because I don't think they were able to. And that life was hard. That life was really different than what we have now. I bet you see in the next couple generations following that there's a seismic shift when it comes to men and their femininity. I ain't saying that right. I can tell you that. Oh, that's good. And their feminine side
Yeah.
because the generations are just changing.
And that is so, and that's so true. And she didn't even mention the generational differences, but there are, you know what I
Oh,
mean? And
huge.
what you said is like if you're in your 50s, because I know a lot of my friends are in their 50s,
I'm a
a lot of your
product
friends are in
of
their
the
50s.
silent generation.
Yes.
Shaba, you can't even relate to
I
that.
can't at
And
all.
that generation was so strong and they were quiet. They just worked. They crazy. But yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't there wasn't time to express feelings or things like that, especially a lot, if you came from a, say immigrant family from,
Hmm.
Europe or Italy or things like
Right.
that. It's different. It's just a different.
It is. It is. And like you said, I can't relate to that generation, but I remember growing up, also coming from an immigrant family, but it was a very male dominated family. But the wonderful thing about having so many men in my family and being, one of the only females is that all of the guys were in their masculine energy. You know what I mean? So it was like a safe environment in some respects. There were some things that obviously, whatever. But like for the most part, like when it came to my uncles and my brother, all of them were very much in their masculine energy. So it was for me, it was like very safe. It was very comfortable for me to always be in that feminine energy. You know what I mean? And then having to grow up, you know, certain life changes and stuff like that, you have to embrace that masculine side. And again, when I say masculine, I'm not saying
Yeah, they
men,
know.
right? And feminine, I'm not saying female, but we're talking about energies. You know what I mean? Different life changes. You have to embrace certain sides, whether it's your feminine or your masculine. But it was just crazy to hear some of these concepts that she's saying. And a lot of it has to do with comfortability and, situational changes where people embrace usually one side more than another.
Oh,
And it's
I
both
think
for
it's
men and, women.
100%. It's seasonal. I think I watched some about that not too long ago. As far as when you have to be masculine, it's a season that you're in your life. If you're a woman in management, your masculinity sometimes has to come out
It
just
has
to be
to.
able. If you're in a masculine dominant um,
Field.
field,
Mm-hmm.
you have to
Facts.
adjust. I see it all the time. I mean, you're
Facts.
talking with contractors and engineers and architects and
You have to.
designers. You have to be able to do that, or
They
they
won't
won't take
respect you.
you
Yeah, they
they
won't
won't
take you
take you they
seriously.
won't they'll go
It's
they will
true.
want to talk to somebody else.
Yeah, it's
It's a
true.
huge thing.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
sometimes even men now, and I don't blame them either, because
Mhm.
how many times do you walk into, say, a department store or something, and let's say it's primarily women in retail. I would
Mm,
say it is, so I'm
yeah.
going to say women.
No,
So
it's true.
you get this idea that you see a woman, she probably doesn't know what she's talking about, because you've had that instance happen so many times. So right there, you have to be like, yes, I'm a woman, and yes, I kind of know what I'm talking about. And if I don't know, I'll find the answer, but I know what I know when it comes out of my mouth.
Right.
And right there is masculine energy. You're
Right.
matching that person's masculinity.
For sure. Oh, dude, I love it. Very true. And I think that to the same point, I think that, and again, can only speak for females. I find it very confusing sometimes when some women in certain situations feel like um, it's almost like they should be given, when you're in certain positions, they should automatically be given that respect. And then it's like it's because I'm a female thing, which it is sometimes. Trust me, I've worked in a field that is very male dominated previously, and you have to, like you said, you have to get in that masculine energy. So it definitely happens where you're looked at differently as a female, but I never felt like it should have just been given to me. You know what I mean? Like that respect or being taken seriously, like you almost have to always prove yourself. You know what I mean?
Oh,
So I do agree with what you said. Certain industries, certain fields, you have to embrace one side over another.
I had an instance before, early on, when um I was in the car business, and I told my dad was always in that industry. So I told him when I got the job, I was like, I'm going to dress very conservative, because what I don't want to do is offend a couple that is coming in, and I also don't want to sell cars based on my looks. I want to sell it because you
You
like
know
the
your stuff.
right.
Yeah.
I did have somebody, and it was, now that I look at it, yes, it was offensive, and I probably was offended back then too, but he like told me one time, and I'll generalize it because there's really no need to rehash it too much, but he basically said, "Well, why don't you dress a little bit more?" Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Mhm. And I'll
And who was it? Like, you don't have to tell me names, don't tell me positions or anything
just
like that.
somebody I work
Was
with.
it a customer? Okay.
And when I'll get it. Okay, so I also, now mind you, I was young. I was really young. I was like
Oh, okay.
24.
Okay, we know why he said that.
But I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, no, I'm like, and I don't know. And again, I guess I have a thing against bras, but like, I don't know what kind of bras I was wearing back then. But if you know me, if I have to dress up, I will. But my priority in my life has never been bras. So I don't give a shit what kind of bras I wear. I just don't. I just,
As long as they do the job.
I just fucking don't. You know what I'm saying? So back then, I probably, I'm going to tell you a really embarrassing story too that happened to me. It changed my life. Okay.
Oh, she has the eyes right
I do,
now.
for real. I've never really even said this in public, but I'm actually going to share it because I'm sure other people went through this too.
Okay.
But first, yeah, so I don't know what kind of bra I was wearing. I probably had a sports bra that I really loved and it like kept the girls tucked and I liked that. And I think he specifically referred to that.
Ew. Oh my goodness. He
Yeah.
sounds like a creeper. Ugh.
You know what? Actually, really nice guy. But like, don't say that to me. And furthermore, I'm not going to sell cars because of my looks. I want you to buy a car because you know what? Kate was really good through the whole process. Like, she knew her shit
Oh
and
my
this, that, and the other
goodness.
thing.
That's so sad though. Like, and I love that you said that because it's true. You shouldn't sell things based off of how you look. For me, dude, I was the opposite. I liked being able to dress, whatever way. But listen, don't underestimate me. Don't freaking underestimate me, bro, because I can
I don't think
hold
there's
my own.
anything,
You know what I mean?
I don't think there's anything wrong with women like
But I
making
hear
that a
you.
priority
No, but I
as you
hear you.
should, you
But I,
know?
I freaking hear you. It's so true. I remember working with somebody who used to dress, I'm just gonna say scandalous. I never, that wasn't my thing. I like to dress up and like be super cute and show off the curves and stuff, but she was very scandalous. And she intentionally did that. And I sometimes I used to even say, like, aren't you worried that if you just happen to like have to like pick something up, even if like the lady move, if you have a skirt on or a dress or whatever, aren't you worried that like, and she goes, no, I know how to do it. And then she would like show us. But some of the outfits, even I was like, and she intentionally did that to get sales.
And see, I'm going to tell you
I'm like,
something.
oh my goodness, that is, I don't know. It's so
Ladies, just
wrong.
keep this in mind.
That is so wrong.
If you're in retail and you sell
She
something,
was.
right? But if you're in retail and you are selling something and you deal with couples and
Mm-hmm.
you work on commission,
Mm-hmm.
you should totally reconsider dressing like that because if you
Facts.
offend the wife where she feels like her
Then
husband
it's over.
is staring at you the whole time and she feels threatened,
And that
I can
totally happened.
promise you this is not your.
Yeah, and it happened a
Of
few times, and
course.
I was mortified watching the interactions. Mortified, and she did not care. I was like, oh my god.
Oh, that, yeah.
Like, there's
But
about to be a
again,
cat fight. I might have to break this up.
I mean, is that, and then we'll get some people who are like, well, it's not the woman's fault. She wants to dress like that. Okay, haters, like, don't chill.
Yeah,
You
we're
know what
we're
I'm
far from,
saying.
you know what we're talking
You
about.
know
Don't
what?
do it.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. You know what we're talking about.
No,
Ladies and gents, you know what we're talking about. Don't do it. Okay?
don't freaking do it.
Yeah, don't do it. No, but you were going to tell us a story,
I'm
buddy.
going to tell you a story.
Yeah, I want to hear this. What's up?
It's really embarrassing.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
Girl.
it is.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Yes. Well, back in the day, this has to go along with bras. I guess I'm like, I just like when I went to UConn basketball camp and got to play a week at.
Holla.
It was great. Play with Gino and Carol Walters
That's
and all those
awesome.
guys back in the day in
The
the
Rebecca
90s.
Lobo
Oh
days?
yeah, Jen
Yup.
Rosati.
Yep.
Um,
Oh, jeez.
so I went there for a week. Now, I was young. Okay, wasn't really developed, or so I thought. Wasn't really developed, or so I thought. So, anyways, mom's always gave me some cash. Could go to the bookstore at that time. It wasn't like it is now, but I thought it was like the craziest, coolest thing. And I bought some, t-shirts or whatever.
Yeah.
And I bought this cutoff. Well, like I said, I didn't really feel like I was developed enough, so I wasn't wearing a bra.
Oh, okay.
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 And I was younger.
Oh.
And I didn't really think anything of it. Honest to God, I didn't think anything of it. At Gamble Pavilion, in front of like 200 kids, one of the rec or people brought it up in front of everyone.
That they could tell that you weren't wearing a bra
Mm-hmm.
in front of all
In
of the
front of
kids. They didn't
everybody.
take you aside.
No.
That's fucked up.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I would have been mortified.
Yeah, dude.
What do you do? Like, oh my goodness, how did that make you feel, buddy?
The worst ever.
Like, how do you recover from that after?
I don't know.
I would have been, Oh my goodness. Like
I
that
don't
my heart
know.
breaks for little Kate.
Doesn't it?
It
Little
does.
Kate was really hurt by that. Little Kate was really hurt by that. And it was just one of those things. It
And
was
nobody said anything to the person that it was like not appropriate. They could have taken you aside.
no.
See, I wish I was at basketball camp with you. I promise you I would have said something, but
Right.
I would have. I would be
It
like,
was so
excuse me,
uncomfortable.
miss, can we have this conversation aside? Like we don't need to
And
have
you
this
have
in
to
front of
understand,
everybody.
like, some at that age, I was probably 12 or, you know what I
Oh
mean?
my
Maybe 11,
goodness.
12 or whatever. So I'm not developed. I just wasn't developed. You know, I guess I just didn't think of it. Remember, this is the 90s. It was a little, not to say it was different than today, but like everybody now is like, so they have it all together.
Yeah, well, my friend, that's not masculine or feminine energy. I couldn't say it. Blah, blah, blah. Masculine or feminine energy that said person was in when they addressed you in such a way. That's just effed up energy.
Yeah.
Like that's just messed up. I don't like
Oh, I
that.
was so upset by that. I was
Could
so
you
upset by that.
imagine little you?
Little me,
Damn,
little me just trying to hoop.
I
And
would have been
it's,
mortified.
you know, and again, I still had a shirt on. And if you couldn't, I guess, see through the slits, which the cutoff, it was like a cutoff,
Yeah, no, I get what you're.
then you
Yeah,
wouldn't have seen it. A bad call on my part,
but to
innocent,
point it out though,
so innocent. Like
and you're a
somebody,
child.
I'm a kid,
Yeah,
dude.
not appropriate. I would have just taken you aside or seen if we could find one. It's UConn. They can find a sports bra somewhere.
You know, or just say, hey, Kate. And then I would have called my mom and she could have come pick me up.
It's
And
UConn. They could have found a sports bra for you.
can you
Yeah.
believe that?
No, that's gross. Actually, I'm so disgusted by that. Like, I'm sad for little Kate.
Yeah.
I'm really disgusted for little Kate because that's messed up. You didn't do
This just
anything
goes
wrong,
to
buddy.
show you that you hang on to things in your life. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't matter how old somebody is or whatever. Like there are things that have happened to you in your life and
for
you kind of
sure.
always hang on to that. Oh, I hated that day. I hated that day. Kids are cruel. I remember another time on the way to eighth grade. I was in no. Let me take that back. I was in middle school.
Hmm.
Did you go to middle school in Stafford?
I did not.
Okay. So I was going there and I was in sixth grade. I wasn't shaving yet. Again, kids today, I don't know, it seems like they will start shaving when they're,
I think they start shaving when they come out of the womb.
you
I
know,
do.
just
At this
things are
point, they just
so
everything
far
goes.
advanced.
Yeah, it's just kids grow too fast. They start shaving when they come out of the womb. Hmm.
So anyway, oh my God, the mayor of Cromwell, not the mayor of Cromwell, mayor of Cumberland Farms.
Mayor, hi,
Oh,
Mayor of Cumbies. I just yelled into the.
he even listening to you. Oh my God, how
Look,
embarrassing!
no,
Shut.
look. He probably doesn't see you. Okay, pause this because I just yelled. We might have
No,
to
I'm
edit
not
that.
pausing it,
Well, I
and
don't want to yell into it. He needs. I don't think he like.
I
sees
want
us.
him on the podcast.
Yeah.
All
we
right,
want you to. We want you to come say hi.
just John,
He said,
just
"No,
put
I hate people."
just put the mic up to him and just say, John, you're the mayor of Cumberland
the mayor
Farms.
of
Do you know
Cumberland Farms.
everybody
Just say
around the world
hi.
knows this?
Yeah, I was in the service. I said thank you to him when we struck up a conversation.
Because you're the mayor.
Because that's what you do.
That's what you do, Mayor.
You are the mayor of
Yes.
Cumberland Farms, John.
That's how you get to know people.
It's an
You
important
open this and
position.
you listen, you
That-
get to know people.
See?
So when you need something, you should make that phone call.
And that's the mayor of
I see
Cumberland
what
Farms.
you're doing.
No, that's how you get to know people, man.
So he's just he wants all his people lined up. He's got somebody for everything.
Absolutely. You know what? So, shut this.
You can shut it off.
Okay, we'll pause for a
We'll pause.
second.
We'll pause.